After a grueling application process, 20 candidates have been chosen for this year's SRS Apprentice.
I'll tell you what, I don't like teachers' pets, I don't like troublemakers, and I don't like to hold people's hand. What I'm looking for is a business partner, not a friend. I've got plenty of those.
20 candidates will go head-to-head in the most competitive business interview process in Dubai. They will battle it out to be Sir Ali's business partner.
It was complete and utter shambles. From the start, it was a complete mess. You didn't manage it well, you didn't do what I asked you to do, and quite frankly, I don't know what you're doing in the boardroom. You were the project manager. Where did it go wrong? You should be telling me. Quite frankly, I don't think you have a clue. You're fired. You're fired. I'm sorry, you're fired. Good morning, everyone.
Good morning, Sir Ali.
Welcome to the art gallery. Now, you're probably wondering why I've called you here, but it's kind of themed towards this task. Now, this task, you're required to run a business service to customers. So you're selling a service. You've sold products before. The idea behind this one involves you being able to manage logistics, being able to map out a plan and successfully deliver. From 10 o'clock till 2 o'clock, you will be selling a henna service. Now, the artists have a wage, a salary. You've got to make sure you drum up enough business to be able to cover that cost. That's on your heads. That's what you have to do. On top of that, we'd like to make some profit, and the team which makes the most profit and the customers that are the most satisfied, my advisors will be telling me who fits where, who's done what, as always. And that's what I'm going to be judging on. So you have until 10 till 2 to do this. You are not relying on a lunchtime rush this time. You're not allowed to do that. It's got to be smarter, because you've got over 600 children between year 4 and year 6 that you're targeting. You're going to go directly through the middle and split all the classes between the two teams, so it's healthy and a fair competition chance. Now it's down to you to sell and market your product or service as best as you can. The henna service is a simple 5-minute appointment per customer. The maximum you can charge, 20 dirhams. Simple designs that go across the hand, nothing too extravagant. We're not at a wedding here. Yeah, we're not going to, it's not Eid or nothing. Yeah, so what I'm trying to say is keep it simple, play it smart, offer a good service, charging no more than 20 dirhams, and on top of that, you've got to manage your customers. So you might not want to rely on a lunchtime rush because then kids go hungry. It's got to be done on a smart system. I'm looking at logistics here and service. Now, I did mention to you, Saha, last time that I'm going to put you as project manager. So you're going to be the project manager for this task. What I'm going to do is I'm going to ask Hannah to move over to this team. Thank you. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to get Malak to go over to this team. And now on this team, I'm going to be seeing who has not been project manager. And I believe there's 2 people in that team who have not. So that's Amal and Iman. I'm going to leave that for you to decide who does what. And then we push forward and see what we do. Everything clear? If you have any questions, you've got advisors, but that's the remit that you've got to be under. 10 till 2, no later. Good luck, and I'll see you in the boardroom. Off you go.
Hello, I'm Hannah. Nice to meet you.
Hi, nice to meet you.
Hi, my name's Okay, so guys, who wants to be the project manager for this task? Okay, so each one of you see something, and then we're gonna.
Okay, so leading a team is hard work. It requires grit, tenacity, and time, right? Without a clear purpose, there's no point in wasting your time. So I'd like to put myself forward because I'm ambitious, I'm ready to work hard, and I'm dedicated. Now, whatever decisions you guys make, you make sure you listen to the team manager, because what happened in the previous task was that you guys interrupted them, and that's not cool. So you make sure you're fair, and then you Yeah, the ordering process.
Okay, so what we've concluded from the previous task is that the project manager should take everyone's opinion into consideration, and I think I do that very well. And especially if you look at the previous task, how I've performed, I think I've performed very well on the first task and throughout. And the first task was a sales service task, and I think this task is very similar to that one, and I think I can lead this team very well.
Okay.
I think I said very well.
So, voting. Hannah, who do you choose?
I think I would go with Iman for this one. Then which one do you think would lead us to the winning this time?
We're not going to take a defensive.
Yeah.
Just say what
Because-
Yeah, no, I'm thinking.
Doesn't really
Okay. I think Iman would be good for this one.
fair enough. Yeah. Okay, fair enough. Let's go with Iman and see what
Okay. So.
خلاص? Okay, go.
We're making this way too complicated than it is. We'll just do whatever you want and then we do whatever we want. That's what I said.
Okay, done.
Sorry, can I have my phone, please?
Of course. Okay, good morning, guys. We are in a competition, and as a competition, we're selling henna. Like we're offering a henna service. So if you're willing to put henna, a beautiful henna on your hands, you can raise your hand. And for the money you can pay tomorrow, it's from 15 to 20 dirhams.
Depending on the design.
Yeah, depending on the design. So who would like to have some henna on their hand? Okay. So we'll take 3 of you
At a time,
yeah.
and then you can come back and switch. So,
Okay.
who wants to go first? The first 3.
First 3. Okay, so you, what's your name? Alia. Thank you. That's right.
Who wants to go first? Oh, sorry. Okay, fine. You.
Hi. Hi, I'd like to take some students for henna. I think Mr. John already informed you about it. Yes. So, anyone interested for henna? Okay. I need four girls at a time, so you're 4. Our start was very good. I have managed, as a project manager, I think I managed the team in a good way, effectively, and I did influence them in a good way, especially my business skills and my accounting skills did come in use while doing this task. It's just a start, but it did come in use. And also, the thing is that we don't have any money in our hand, so we have taken the names of the people who owe us money, but then the question is, will they still give us the money tomorrow? Will they remember it? We don't know. So we took a risk, and let's see what happens.
Basically, this task has been like a challenge in this task. It's like, I think it's the hardest one so far, just because like we really have to organize time. Like we have to crush in like almost 20 people in a matter of only 30 minutes. And so it's like, it's very hectic. It's almost as if like 2 minutes per one person only. And so like time management wise, we're struggling with that. Sahar is doing a great job. She's listening to me and Sarah, and we're communicating together. Each one knows what they're doing, and I feel like teamwork is floating with this task. However, the task is very hard, just in terms of like, okay, 6 classes, one teacher wants this, one teacher wants that, but hopefully we can like stay on top of things.
The reason why I wasn't disappointed when Iman was chosen as PM was because I know that she's got good business acumen. I know that she's unbiased and doesn't bring favoritism into her work. As a team leader, I think she did all right. We had a couple of ups and downs, but we were able to stick back the broken pieces. We all gave it our best, and now we just hope for the results and that it all comes up positive.
So it's a really tough task for the girls today. They have to provide a henna service and try and get money out of students who wouldn't have known beforehand that this is happening. So tough task. The girls have come up with a really good tactic to ask for 20 dirhams for one hand or 2 hands 30 dirhams. That might just top the money stakes compared to the other team. They've also done a really good job of inviting teachers in and not just focusing on students. I think the one thing we need to look at here though is possibly Malak being more of a project manager than Sahar at the moment, but let's see how things pan out.
Good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
Right, okay. Well, you were set a task last week which involved many different attributes and many different skills that should have been demonstrated. The task was we had 2 henna artists that were hired, and you were expected to cover their salary for the day. You'd be able to drum up enough business to cover that cost, and as well as that make some profit on top of that. Now it's different from selling a product, because I know I can give you some soft drinks, I can give you some crisps or chocolates, and you've already sold that. But this was different in the sense that you have to convince people to buy a service. So what we're going to do slightly differently, we're not going to go through project management, because I appointed the project manager. What we're going to get down to is I'm going to start with Miss Eloise, just give us a bit of information, not with the figures, just a bit of information about what happened, and then what I want to know from all of you, so you all have an opportunity very quickly, is tell me what you've done on this task. What differentiates you from anyone else, or what did you do that was exemplar and that should be recognised as why you remain in this process? Miss Eloise?
So I think actually this is a difficult one because all three girls worked really hard and worked very well together. I think that depending on what the figures look like, I think that you should be a winning team because I think that you tried as hard as you could, you looked for where you could make the sales, and you each individually got into the classrooms and drummed up as many students as possible. I think the one actual possibility might have also been that your hen artist was actually just slower as well. She took her time and that might have been a limiting factor for you, but individually all worked very hard.
Right, start off with, I've appointed you Sahar as project manager. Tell me what happened. What was the strategy? What was the plan? Was there a plan? And then we'll hear from your colleagues.
So we all started really well as a team, and everyone inputted some ideas. And then we discussed which classes we wanted, and then we took the classes, and we went to each of the classes and asked them which is the suitable time. Eventually, in the end, we couldn't go to year 4 because we told them the time, but no one was willing to put henna. So we stayed here because we had a lot of customers in year 6, and that's where we did most of our.
So what was the plan at the start of the day is what I'm trying to get at. What was the plan? Was there a plan? Did you just get the team together and say, okay, I'm going to go to this classroom first, this classroom, how did it work? How was because it was also for you to be able to consider not just selling a service, but logistics. How do you manage bringing different students to the point of where the service is being offered? And how does that work as a system?
So we had 2 spots, one was in primary, and we decided that me and Sarah would go get the kids and the classes, and Malak would stay with the henna designer and record all the people that are doing the henna and how much they pay. But then we only stuck to the one in year 6, and that's where we stayed.
And we mainly chose to stay in year 6 because before we even started, the lady was already starting in the year 6, but we went around the year 4s and 5s. We couldn't find that much of customers, and so we decided to stay where we already know we have a guaranteed customer base rather than going elsewhere where we would have no customers.
What was the sales strategy then? What was the plan for sales? Like, how did you approach going into, because you're saying you didn't get any year 4s, what was the approach? What was the technique for trying to get sales? Or anyone want henna? No. All right, bye. I mean, what was
our approach was actually luring at least 2 students from each classroom, and then they would have their henna design. And you know how with girls they all want to do the same stuff and whatnot. So the people who, for example, there are 2 girls, they did the henna, and then when they went back to the classroom, more people actually agreed then to come outside and do the henna as well. And we had this strategy of okay, we will throw the maximum price. So we said one hand maximum we can charge us 20. So we thought we did the designs, and then if anybody wanted extra a name writing or shapes or whatever, we would charge it
And some classes, year 5 yellow, only 2 of them went, and then we thought that this wasn't enough for a class, and then we went in again 3 more times, and then we actually got 6 more people. So we tried to convince them more than one time, and we never actually lowered the price. We kept the price constant all the time, which I think was pretty good because everyone agreed on it. And we chose the year 6s. We didn't want to go to secondary because the year 6s they will pay you the same amount, but the secondary girls are more mature to actually lower the price for you. So that's our strategy, to stay with kids and not go to the secondaries.
And we also we thought about if we're going to lower the price, the woman's still going to work on the same speed. So if we're going to charge one hand 20 and be done in 2 minutes, while if we decrease the price to 10, we need 4 minutes to get the same 20 dirhams. And so we decided to keep the price the same.
And
so you didn't budge on price?
No, but what we did was we told them one hand is 20, but 2 is 30. So a lot of girls, after they'd done one of the hands, they would go how much is 2 hands for? And we would say 30, so they just had to pay 10 more. So they would go get the other hand done as well.
Okay, Miss Sarah, for Team Revolution.
Project manager, you actually didn't pick this, the girls nominated themselves. So Iman and Amal both put themselves forward, and Iman was chosen. So I think maybe we were a little bit disappointed we weren't made project manager. I've got to say I was very impressed with the girls. I don't think their employee stopped for a second. She was constantly working. They were constantly drumming up people to come in. Batul was running around different classrooms getting them ready, so they were thinking about the future. Service-wise, they were very, very good with their customers, very good with their employee as well. They did have, and I think this might be where we did well, they did have a lot of choice when it came to what they offered. So they offered one hand, then two hands, and then they had like a name on your wrist, and they had a few different ones.
We had fingers only, and then
so there was a lot of choice, and they had their employee worked all day. There was no stopping. So I think they got the most that they possibly could out of it.
Didn't give them a break?
No.
We asked, we did.
Well,
we asked, we got her water.
We offered water, and we asked her if she wanted it.
Basic human rights and stuff, yeah.
We actually asked her if she wanted a break, and she wants food, and she just said she had her own food.
And she was like, she didn't want to stop, like she was enjoying it, and it was constant. Like we were like it was amazing. It was constant. The customers just kept on coming.
What was the strategy then, Iman? What was the plan of the day?
So first of all, I asked the employee how many minutes does it take you to do one hand. So according to that, then we decided what we were supposed to do. So she said it takes her 2 minutes to do one hand. So then we basically, so they had two classes and we had two classes from the girls section. So then I divided the team into two. So me and Hannah were together, and Batul and Amal were together. Then so I wanted two child-friendly people, so it was me and Hannah. So we went to the classes.
They're not child-friendly, are they?
I mean, like more, you know. More
actually, actually we split it. Both of us went to different classes and talked to different classes. So all of us actually had.
Everyone went in, but then we started off as only like the. Yeah, I gave everyone an opportunity to go inside classes and show their ability to get the students
to pitch.
To pitch. So initially we went to grade 4, me and Hannah, but then they had to go for swimming, so we couldn't get as many people, you know, to get their henna done. So we didn't really get a lot of sales from that. Then Batul and Amal went to grade 5, and they got the list because the henna artist was with us. So they got the list of the people who wanted to do their henna, to get their henna done. So then me and Hannah took the henna artist there. Then we went to grade 6 after we were done with the grade 5.
Okay.
And we actually generated a lot of sales from grade 6 because they seemed very keen on getting their henna done.
So who generated the most sales in this team then? Who's got the most sales?
Like individually?
Yeah, individually. Because let's getting down to business now, aren't we? You know, we've not got long left.
And we also went to secondary during lunch when it was allowed to go and I tell them. So I went in prayer and I had to tell, like, no one was there. I mean, none of the other teams.
So you've got the most sales?
No, I'm just speaking for what I did for the secondary.
Okay.
So I went and I did an announcement and I told everyone individually, or like in groups at least, that we were doing henna and everything. So I think at the end that got us a couple of customers as well.
So me and Amal basically set the table in lunch where customers could see us the most.
So you two got the most sales?
No, I'm getting to that. I'm getting to that point.
Oh,
okay, I'm getting to that point.
Please.
Okay. So basically, initially, not a lot of people had money, so we had to write their names down, and then in the morning, the next day, we had to get the money. So I appointed Amal to do grade 6. I appointed Hannah to do grade 5.
Is it all collected?
Yeah, most of it was all
of it was collected actually.
Except for one, she didn't have money on Thursday.
But we collected it.
And we collected it at the end, but it was already like, you already had the money.
I think it's very hard to individually put down who got the most sales because they worked very well as a team. And Iman did have a strategy where they were writing down everything, and they were writing down girls who got it, girls who owed, girls who got paid, and they knew where they were going to meet up the next day. So as a team, they worked very well together. I don't know if I could pick out one person that had
what about on this side? Was there anyone who really, or would you say it's equal sales?
I think again it would be very difficult because of the different roles that they were having. I think that they all worked equally as hard as each other, and it would be very difficult to define where the sales came from.
Okay. Well, what we have to do now is we're going to go down and look at the numbers as to what's happened. But before we do that, I want you to be aware that everyone who's made it to this stage individually, it's been a very good journey for you. You've all contributed at this stage. So at this stage, even if you're released from this and you don't remain in this process, you've made some fantastic contributions, and I hope that's going to go a long way into a successful future. So I'll just get Miss Sarah to give us the numbers for your team.
Revolution, you made 1,430.
Bates came away with 1,055.
1,055. So Saha, I'm not going to ask you to bring back anyone because everyone's already here. There's a team of 3. Winning team. It's quite an achievement. It's good. Well done. Excellent stuff. You know, you worked hard. Both teams have worked extremely hard. It is challenging when you've got different environments. You don't know who's going to say what and do what. But yeah, well done. And yeah, one of the things that you wanted to bring up, I think was it Miss Sarah? Did you mention something?
Well, I think we'll talk to this team, but don't go anywhere else.
Okay, winning side. I'm going to ask you just to wait outside for a second. Just please wait outside. Yeah? Wait outside. You all know at this stage that it's very crucial that we pick the right candidates to move forward, that I pick the right candidates to move forward, and part of that involves at least one of you leaving the process. But I'm not quite sure if that's fully in this side, so what I'm going to do is, could we just get the other team called back into the boardroom, please? Sarah, can you call the other team back into the boardroom, please?
Okay, ladies, you're probably wondering why we called you back in. And the finals next week, there is only 5 places. That means 2 candidates will leave the process today. So we do have the losing team, and there will be at least 1 candidate from that team leaving. But then we need to look at the remaining candidates and pick another person to leave the process. So there will be 2 people leaving today. So you want to start off?
Yeah, the idea, very quickly, behind what Miss Sarah is saying is we need to look at this crucial stage who remains in this process, because there's only 5 candidates that will go through to the interview stage, so we need to review the whole journey, and that's part of why we've called everyone back in, because part of the task is winning the task, but also I need to look at who's going to be my business partner, who is going to win this competition. So starting from the losing team, very quickly, I'm not going to go into who, I just want to know who did what. Why should you remain in this process? What have you done throughout this process? And why should I keep you? Sarah, start us off, please.
I think, especially this task, me and Sahar worked together a lot, and I actually have the convincing skills to kids. I convinced a lot of them. I worked more than 3 roles during this task, and I thought there was only me and Sahar who worked gradually in this task more than Malak, sorry. And then, why should I say in this task? I think through all tasks, I was never into the side where I did something which is not, I've never been in a position where I did something wrong which could affect my business. I was only once a project manager, and
Did you win that task?
Although we lost this task, I think my position as a project manager, I led it well. I had the skills to actually manage it, because the loss wasn't because of the project manager, it was a whole team. And I think for me to actually go through all this process, I'm ready to go into the interview side and be ready to be interviewed and hopefully be your business partner.
Saha?
Like what Sarah said, I've been with her in the same team since the beginning, and I think in this task, me and Sarah both worked the hardest out of all the other tasks, and in my opinion, we did really well. And throughout the tasks that we had, I've always been a good team player. I've never really had a problem with anyone, never affected the group in a bad way. Although I've sometimes, like in the previous task, they said I wasn't as effective because I didn't input a lot of ideas. I still worked hard in my own time, and I always hope for the best for the group, and I always put in my maximum effort.
Malik?
I'm not gonna talk about this task because I know I did what I was asked to do, and I went around the school more than 4 times finding them customers and dealing with the grade 4 situation. But I want to say throughout the apprentice task, first task I was the surprise candidate, I was project manager, I won. Second task I was told by Miss Eloise I did an amazing job, I did everything I was asked, and I was outstanding in it. And even though our team lost, Miss Eloise said that me and Iman shouldn't deserve because our work was outstanding. Third task, our team won, and Batul as the PM can say to all of you how hard I worked on that task. So I don't see myself as a person who deserves to go from the apprentice.
But why should I keep you? Because look, there's no for all of you. You could say, well, I was project manager, we lost, but that doesn't mean it was my fault. It was the team, but it was led by you, wasn't it? It was led by you. You have to take responsibility for part of a major responsibility because you're leading the team. And again, Malik, there's the confrontations. I need to consider these options when I'm thinking. Do I want someone who's going to be confrontational? We're supposed to be running a business or starting a business, or you're going to be a business partner. Do I have to, bring a shield when I come and have a meeting with you? These are things that I have to consider. And Saha, you've been a good team player, but what about, as a leader? I put you in a position to be a leader for the first time, and although you might be a good team worker in terms of leadership, not necessarily paid off in terms of the strategy, although you have worked extremely hard. Batul?
Well, let's talk about me being project manager. In that task where I was project manager, our team won. And I think I led that team really well, and that was what caused our success. And in this task as well, I think I worked really well going from every task to another and persuading the customers to buy and to come to our service. First task as well, I think I worked well, and I think you were project manager, I think she would agree on that. I worked really well on that task.
Didn't it start off with a massive argument?
Which one?
When you were project manager?
Yeah, but that's the thing. We work onto the success. It's not just like, bam, you're amazing. You have to work on being better, and I think that's what I worked on during this process. At the beginning, there were some things I think most of us agree on. I wasn't listening well, but I think throughout the task, I have grew, and that was what caused our success when I was project manager. So I think I should stay in this project.
But that's one task. You've only told me about when you were project manager. What about before that?
Haven't been brought back inside the boardroom, even though we have lost. So, and I think your supervisors would agree with me. I've always had a leading role in the task, and even in this task, I think I performed really well. I did have a strategy, and even in the Dragon Mart task, Miss Eloise, she said I had a leading role.
But Miss Eloise also said that within that leading role of that your task that you're referring to, there was also a little stigma attached to, well, the advisor didn't tell us this, the advisor didn't tell us that. They're not there to feed you, but meaning, I mean, that was something that was raised by yourself, wasn't it? Oh, the advisor didn't, so I mean, you could say you've done well this task, you've had a good strategy, you had a plan at hand, but I mean, we have to look at the whole process here. And are you saying, although the advisors would agree, Miss Eloise, would you agree with all that comments being fair? Just one moment, please.
I think it was a bit of a sticking point, but I think one thing we pick up and learn from
that
mistakes.
Right, please continue.
Me and Malik did bring back the receipts. It was Sophia and the other team members that didn't bring back the receipts. And I think Sophia should have made that clear, because me and Malik did. I mean,
yeah, we did learn from our mistakes.
We knew that we had to, and I think it was pretty clear that the other people in my team had to bring it as well.
But that's upon reflection you're referring to as not the advisor's fault. Then it's the
I didn't ever blame her. It was Sophia that was persistent on blaming the advisor.
Okay, Hannah.
I think I should say in this process because first of all I won 3 of the tasks, and I was project manager once and we won, my team won at that time. Also during the first task, our advisor, it was Dr. Elias, he told me himself that I was like, you know, like.
You were like what? Just explosive? I mean, what does that mean? Flower? What?
You can know that I was like, I shone, I was shining during that time. Okay, and the second task was the Dragon Mart task. I was the project manager, we won. Third task was the cooking task. I was the one who was like cooking the entire time. I produced a product and I helped advertising a lot. And also, our team lost at that time, not because of the statistics.
You can't take a breath, I'm not going to rush you. Karen.
Not because of the statistics, but it was because of what happened, you know. And this task, I think Ms. Sarah would agree. I learned from my mistakes when you told me that I was a bit too controlling and sometimes I need to step down because I'm not always the project manager. I think Ms. Sarah would agree with me this time. I kept on asking the project manager, taking her advice and see what she thinks of what I'm thinking. And
yeah, I think yes, good. Thank you for that.
So I did to the apprentice too, when I worked in each task to the best of my ability. I did all that I was told, all that I could. As for this task, whatever amount allocated for me, I did. In fact, I did more than I was told. So in this task, my job was to take care of the accounts. I had to go fetch students, and the students which opted for the service, I was in charge of writing their names down and managing all the statistics, fetching the money. I also had to go the next day early in the morning to get the money from the students because half of them didn't know that this was going on and they didn't have an idea that this was going on.
So why should you remain in this process? Because when I'm looking at the whole journey for all of you, and I'm just saying particularly for you, I'm thinking,
you know, you've not been project manager throughout this process. You're a good team player.
And you're a very professional candidate. There's no denying that. But at the same time, I'm just wondering, are you just a team player, or because you haven't been in a position to lead, or why haven't you been in a position to lead? Like, everyone has worked hard, including yourself. You have worked hard. All of you have worked hard. But what is the defining or the difference between all of you? If I'm having to pick only 5 candidates and there's 7 people standing in front of me, what would you say?
As for project manager, I think that since this is a school project, there's a lot of personal bias between students and favoritism, and that just means that the students are always in favor of their classmates and friends. So, you know, that's where it went. And as for the apprentice itself, I think I'm dedicated and ready to contribute to success.
That clearly puts me in a very difficult situation. There's no denying at this stage, like I was saying before, to this team before I called your team back in, that it's a very difficult process, and you've all worked extremely hard. And it's unfortunate that when you are released from this process, or however far you go, it doesn't mean that you've not achieved or you won't go on to do things. I think anyone who's made it to this stage, and these aren't just words, I feel that every single one of you is a credible person and have a lot of qualities and skills, but unfortunately the way this works is that there has to be two people who leave this process today. Now I'm going to ask from some further guidance as to where we would go with this from this team, Miss Eloise, and then that would possibly help me lean towards making a final decision.
I think we have to look at who can see the process through, and weighing up against, normally again it would be a project manager that takes responsibility for the task. So I think it's weighing up those two things, but who really is going to be able to commit themselves to the full process.
The demands are high, and the demands are increasing, and if you do make it past the interview stage, it will be very challenging. It will be possibly longer than a normal task has been. Now, I know, Sarah, you're very young in this process. You're probably one of two candidates who are the youngest. So I do have to take that into consideration, and I wonder whether would I have to babysit or not. And that's the same with you, Batul, because you're very young. But I don't see that as being. I think you've shown some hard work and tenacity. That where I'm torn between is between Saha and Malak. And Malak's been tasked to do something. Malak's done exactly what her job said on this task. Stay with the students, write their names down, etc. You do have this side to you which is aggressive, which appears now and then, which sometimes doesn't work in business when you're working with people. And then there's you, Saha, being pretty quiet through the process, and then last task you've kind of, this dragon inside has come out, and then you've led this task, and in a way it's not led to a fruitful outcome under your rule. So it does put me in a very difficult situation. I think I can safely say, I think Sarah, I think you've done enough to get on to the next part of this stage. So I think you'll definitely proceed through to the interview stage, and that leaves me with you two. And it's a very tough decision, but sometimes you have to take a risk.
Mr. Can I say something before you? I would just like to say that the task that I did give Malak wasn't completed. In fact, Sarah had to take over her task. Sarah had to start writing the names and the prices. And
why was that?
Because she was at this point, she went to look for the year 4s, and for some reason it took her way longer than it should have to come back. So I gave the task to Sarah, and when she came back, Malak just sat with the henna artist. Sarah did her job, and I managed mine and Sarah's job, and Sarah helped me with that.
So with all due respect, Sarah's job was to go into classes. I personally went to 4 classes. If we're talking about tasks, why didn't Sarah go to all of the classes? I would have peacefully handed her the 4 classes and she would have gone there. I was asked to go check the year 4, go to reception, go to the FS area to check for the teachers that Miss Eloise sent an email to.
I never asked her to go to reception. I just told her to go check if everyone is gathered in the FS area. And she went there, she came back. I agree she wasn't feeling well on the day, but I mean, you don't feel good every day, do you? And as it comes to project management, I think that people, especially in this competition, don't understand the difference between a boss and a leader. I think that when you're doing a task, a leader is someone you can go up to and you know they're going to take your opinion into consideration.
I don't like her accusations, because let's say, okay, I wasn't PM for the second task, and that is when people were telling me I'm always too strong of personality. Sophia was the PM. Sophia gave me a very direct job of about 13 items that me and Iman had to get. I went with Iman, I listened to everything, I contacted Sophia, I contacted Batul, and I contacted the rest of the team. I got all my items, I got all I required. Anybody that came to me for help, I also helped them. It's not my fault that I feel like sometimes I have to step up when the PM isn't stepping up.
I would like to say, before I worked with Malak, I had high expectations, and Sarah would agree, when Malak joined our team, we were like, oh, you know, she's a good candidate. And after the task, I was like, is that Malak? Like, is that all she can do? Like, I wasn't happy with her effort at all.
I'm sorry, I'm human. I get tired sometimes.
Okay.
No, you should leave it. If we're being honest, you should leave it there.
Okay. Now listen. I'm drawing to a conclusion here. Now the way I see it is as follows. Because let's get down to making some decisions now. Now, Malak, you've performed on most of the tasks. You do have this overpowering nature about you, which we've even seen it just recently when you are put in a situation where you're criticised. You take that very personally. That might be your passion, which can be misunderstood as being aggression, maybe. And then Saha, I mean, why is it that you wake up when you're cornered, in the sense that now there's this make or break that you have to step up and really say what's going on and how you feel. I don't want you to answer that. That's just me talking in a rhetorical sense. Now, in this process, right, the next part of this requires you to be in an interview where you're going to be questioned at length. Now, I don't think, if I'm looking at it from a perspective of from the beginning of this process until now, and the skills that have been presented to me, is whether it's enough or I can kind of predict as what's going to happen. So yeah, Saha, I think that's more than enough. As difficult as this is and as risky as this may be, I feel that this is, if I look at it from a whole task, whole process perspective, and I think this may have been a bit of a pitfall for what's been said, where you've said as between the difference between the leader and the boss. But then again, Malak, I'm just thinking, were you sitting with this? What happens on the next task or after the next task? Where do you sit within that? The truth is this, guys, it's very hard to make this decision right at this stage because there are a lot of emotions at stake and a lot of people will be upset by the decisions that are made. Now stop, don't interrupt me please, don't stop talking. The way I see it is, I'm considering everything in this whole process and how we move forward. So, yeah. Right. Yeah, I don't want people to leave this process with having any personal hard feelings of any sort. It's a very difficult decision, but I think I've come to that. And Saha, although you might have done well on the previous task, I'm just looking at the whole process throughout and I'm wondering whether or not it's enough. And I'm afraid on this occasion it isn't enough. So Saha, sorry, say, you're fired.
Thank you. I don't think I deserve to get fired in this task because I think I performed the best out of all my previous tasks and certain people in the team didn't. And I don't think people who sleep during tasks should be a part of the finals, semi-finals.
Now, you know that there's one more person that has to leave this process, and again, and I'm judging this basically based on contributions throughout. So what I'm going to do is I'm not going to go into the details of who's done what, who should stay. I think this judgment is come as a result of just feedback I've heard from the advisors, as well as just judging it on the whole process, and that leads me to Amal. You're a very professional person. I think out of all the candidates, in terms of your mannerisms, which are very, very good, and you're very polite, and the way you deal with things is very, very, very credible. There's no denying that. But on the sense of, I would have expected you to be able to come out of that shell by now and literally take the bull by its horns and say, well, I'm sorry, I'm not going to back off from being project manager because of this. Whether you have allegiances, because you're going to go to the business world, and if I can part ways with you in this way, I would say that you're going to have people who will do that, who will be a spanner in the works, so people that are difficult to manage or difficult to work with. But that's what you have to deal with, and you have to step up and say, actually no, on this task or throughout the previous task, I think this is a big mistake. I should be picked because of this, this and this, and you've got to win people over, and I don't think that's happened, and that's why I think it was always a risk on the last task. When I did set the task, I did say I'd be looking to see who can step up. So Amal, it is with regret, but I do have strong belief that you'd go on to do better things, that I have to say you're fired. I wish you all the best. I would recommend that you start preparing your plans, your briefs, ready for the interview. You will be given a call. So I would say just get ready for the interviews. Go on, off you go.
I don't think Sir Ali has seen the best of me. I haven't peaked it. I haven't demonstrated what I'm entirely capable of. You win some, you lose some. I haven't peaked it. I haven't my way on this occasion. The downside is that I have had some of this trust in me. I haven't peaked it. I haven't on this occasion.